So for this video, I really wanted to talk about grounding. Grounding is something that I've become very aware of, especially in the past couple years since leaving my corporate job, working in a grocery store for a while, and then, of course, giving my readings where I often, connecting with other people who are not so grounded themselves, and so it becomes even more important that I myself, practice different things to ensure that I'm in really good energy, and as I'm channeling energy, accessing my intuition, I'm in that really stable, grounded state. So I just thought I'd put together a little video just recapping some of my preferred methods for doing that. So first and foremost is definitely going outside, finding grass ideally, or at least some ground that's comfortable to walk on, and truly removing your shoes and socks and making contact with earth. Ideally 20 minutes, I would say, is preferred if you can. And even, sitting down on the ground itself, even placing your hands on the ground as well, and, even laying down if you're comfortable. I mean, I know some people have some, issues with the bugs and all of that, but if you can override that a little bit and just recognize that we are, really connected to the earth, it can really lead to some excellent benefits, I think. It's just such a good way of, again, charging your body, and the ions from the earth that come into your body through your feet or through your hands. It just really helps to kind of alleviate any stress you're feeling, and move through some difficult energy you might be holding. Again, living in really fear-based cities and societies these days where there's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety from other people, it's pretty hard to avoid. So by taking accountability for your own energy through ways like grounding, it really helps all of us by we all doing our part. So again, making contact with the earth is first and foremost. Crystals is huge. I'm really grateful that I've been able to work with a lot of different stones in the past couple years, and especially living in Arizona, there were a lot of different crystal healers I was able to talk to. So first and foremost, when it comes to crystals, black tourmaline is probably my personal favorite. It is just a very nice, weighty stone. I feel like the effects are felt pretty instantaneously, at least for me. And so again, even just wearing this in your pocket, or reaching for it when you're in those moments of really feeling stressed or needing to kind of shield your energy, I've just found black tourmaline to be a really excellent stone to work with. Next would probably be hematite, which is also kind of weighty, solid stone. Really good actually for people who feel more timid, believe it or not, or struggle with anxiety, nervousness, stuff like that. And I actually have a really cool worry stone in hematite that I love as well. It's just like so soothing to kind of like rub your thumb over it. And if you do choose to work with crystals, it's obviously super important to cleanse their energy regularly, especially if it is a stone that you're going for when you're in a more anxious, stressed, fear-based state. So I just want to put that out there, and I'll probably do a video in the future about cleansing your crystals and all of that. But just be mindful, putting it under sunlight, moonlight, smoke, water, stuff like that is really good to kind of do that. Smoky Quartz is definitely a personal favorite of mine. A lot of people who struggle with grief and depression tend to be drawn to smoky quartz, I've found, and myself included. There was a period in my life where I was really, really depressed, and so having smoky quartz is a really great one. It just really pulls negative energy away from you, and again, you want to make sure to definitely cleanse this regularly if you use it, but like I said, I think it's a really excellent stone for grounding and just helping to kind of transmute the energy that you might be holding that might not be so positive. And quartz in general is really good, clear quartz, whatever, for just kind of clearing your aura a little bit. Shungite is a really great one, kind of, you know, similar to the hematite, both kind of metallic-y stones. Again, just good for any of the darker stones generally are a safe bet for kind of protection and grounding and such. So that's another really great one. And then definitely Obsidian, another black stone. A lot of people will sometimes confuse Tourmaline with Obsidian, but they're slightly different, and it's, you know, definitely a personal choice, right? And I always say, always go with your intuition when it comes to choosing any crystal, but especially when it comes to, you know, if you have two black stones, which one are you more drawn to just intuitively is probably the one that's better for you. I really like to mention Miriam Jasper as well. I've definitely found a lot of people who are ungrounded, you know, stressed, anxious, will be drawn to this stone. Because Miriam Jasper is actually very, very condensed, fossilized plants from millions and millions of years ago, generally. And so that's kind of why it does have a very grounded energy to it. It is definitely kind of like the earth condensed into a very, very tiny stone. So that one I've seen a lot of people will be drawn to if they're a little bit more anxious. And, you know, I also like to just shout out to rocks in general, you know. This is a rock I collected from my hometown. And, you know, so again, it doesn't have to be a fancy crystal when it comes to grounding specifically. If all you're looking for is something that kind of roots you and puts you back into your body a little bit more. Rocks in general, sitting on rocks, you know, I love going on hikes sometimes, especially when I was in Arizona, and I would just sit on a rock for, you know, 10-15 minutes, and that by itself is such a great way to, again, kind of take on the energy of that stone, which is very condensed energy, again, especially those really thick stones. So that in itself is a great way to kind of just ground yourself a little bit more if you're in a more anxious fear-based state. So that's great to know about. I also really, really recommend weighted blankets. I was unfortunately not able to bring mine with me to India, but you know, in the past when I've just had it on top of me during readings, sometimes like when I'm about to start a reading with someone and I can just kind of energetically feel like, okay, this person isn't super grounded, I'll just wear it during the reading, and that's helped me a lot. And even at night, when I'm sleeping, I'll just have the weighted blanket on top of me, and I found that to be really, really great. Helped me a lot with insomnia as well. So that's definitely one of my recommendations. I would say definitely the foods that we eat is so important to be mindful of if you are a more anxious person. You know, I've been studying a little bit of Ayurveda while I've been here in India, you know, because all of the foods that we eat and consume are divided up into the different gunas, as they're called. So it's, you know, either the tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic types of foods. So, you know, the tamasic foods are the ones that tend to be more processed, you know, not so healthy. And so if you are eating, you know, those processed foods and things that are just kind of putting you in a little bit of a lower vibration, honestly, just because of, you know, the ingredients that make them up and them being highly processed, that in itself can definitely lead to being, you know, in that not so grounded state. So it's just really important to think about that for sure. And, you know, just breathing in general, I have come to realize that probably for most of my life I was not breathing correctly, and I would say most of us don't. You know, we're always stressed and anxious, and that can lead to us really kind of breathing in the higher portion of our diaphragm and such. And so whenever I can, I really try to just slow down and breathe all the way into my lower abdomen, and pranayama breathing has really helped me in some of my yoga classes. And again, I always say definitely work with, you know, someone who's certified and trained in that sort of stuff before necessarily practicing it by yourself. But I've definitely found it to have some really incredible benefits, and it's helped me to calm down a lot. I do tend to be an overthinker, so breath work is in general a really great way for me to kind of like come out of my thoughts and just be more intentional and mindful about what I'm doing, and that's just been really helpful for me. And, you know, I don't know, like I said, I think it's something that the more we as a society continue to talk about grounding and become familiar with the term, you know, it's still, you know, not super discussed, honestly, or known about. Like, there's definitely a lot of people I come across who are like, what's grounding? And again, I don't think it needs to be a big, you know, super complex thing at all. I think literally just being mindful that if you're always walking on concrete or not taking your shoes off, not being barefoot, you're probably not going to be as grounded as would be ideal for you to really, again, remain calm and in your best state. So hopefully the more we all take personal accountability for small steps that we can take to kind of, again, just recharge and ground ourselves, it makes such a big difference, because then we don't continue to project low vibrational energy onto the people around us. And, you know, especially for children, again, it's been really tough living in a city like, you know, whether it's New York or Delhi or anywhere. Children are so, you know, they're mirrors to us as adults, and so if we can really work on that and not pass on our issues onto the kids, that's definitely something I've been thinking a lot about. But yeah, so again, I just wanted to share some of my tips and recommendations. Very interested if anyone watching this has their own ideas around grounding, and again, I really hope that this is just something that we as a society collectively, you know, reflect more on, because I think if we don't work on it more, it really leads to negative long-term effects, and again, especially for people living in higher rise buildings and who are not touching the earth as much as they should be. So yeah, but thanks for watching, and look forward to hearing from some of you.